Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, National Action Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
We have a holiday birthday, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We were cool. Yeah.
They were on the plantation.
Our family.
33-year-old preacher without a church.
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, "The two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you are born." I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. A young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed, I mean really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Right?
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend.
SSA.
Can it turned up, maybe? Can it be turned up? I hear it, but it's very faint.
Okay. It's there. Yes. Sure. That's the. It's the input, right? Yeah, it's okay. This one. This one.
Do we start saying that there's got to be a movement around guns? So there's a lot to talk about, and I want you to call in 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to our message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net to live stream www.nationalactionnetwork.net at live stream. And I see Mamie Jones is checked in saying no, Happiness Donuts is on saying hello and reality. And I'm seeing a lot of you that are on. Bruce Turner's on saying it's back. I don't know what is back. I guess he's talking about these audio. Okay, well, it is back. And Dr. Felicia, too, is saying, love you, Rev, love you back. And so we're going to go ahead and take a break and come right back, start going to the phones, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, twitter.com the Rev Al, or the message board. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We'll be right back.
I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete. We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who can run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. Yes, sir. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. Yeah. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there. and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm gonna keep marching, I'm gonna keep agitating, and I'm gonna keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time, Mariah, Chris and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. No justice! No justice! 62 years ago today, Martin marched in Washington. 62 years later, the dream is not dead.
I'm here because I must be here. Democracy is not there for the pig, and you have to fight for democracy. That's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
Is the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard. with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the
tonight, and we're going to take your calls. I threw out several issues, including the fact that they are now trying to get the Affordable Care Act vote on the floor. And 4 Republicans have now gone with the Democrats saying that they need to vote on ACA. We'll see if that's enough. Johnson, the speaker, is saying that they're not voting this week. We'll see if they get enough to override him. I don't think anything is more important than that. And I think that there is nothing that is absolutely more a priority for everybody, particularly those of us that have been the ones that have been in many ways in the income level or in the other levels of not being able to get the coverage that is needed. This is a human rights and a family matter. I also have raised about the issue of Susie Wiles, President Trump's chief of staff, making certain comments that causes a few eyebrows to be raised around the Washington area. And I see many of you lining up calls. I'm going to the phones, and message board, Alexandria Kennedy saying on the message board, yes, Rev, yes, Rev, you've marched for me, but I also marched with me in the past regarding affirmative action. My father marched with you many times. Brooklyn-born Frank Mabry Jr. Yes, I remember Frank Mabry. I was a kid. Frank Mabry had, I believe, Afro Cola or something, that he had a company. I remember Frank Mabry. His death is under investigation, and I'd be very interested in following that up, Alexandria, about that. If it's the Frank Mabry I remember, he was critical, early businessman in the 70s. I was still a teenager. But I remember that we were marching together, and I remember that. I'm going to take your calls, others that are on the message board. Don't forget, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 every Saturday and Sunday. Live at 5 every Saturday and Sunday on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. Somebody asked me on the plane coming down here, are you going to be on this weekend because of the holiday? I said, I'm on Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. both nights. And I'm on the Saturday after, and I think I'm doing the Reveries that Sunday. I'm on all the time. I don't go off. I don't give them a break. Make sure you tune in and watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 on Saturday and Sunday. You in the New York area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally. I'll be there in Harlem at the Saturday Action Rally, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, as I said, 145th and Lenox. And I'll be there. I want to give my special Kwanzaa and Christmas message this Saturday morning. Make sure you're there. You that are not in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area to get there easily. You can watch it live on Impact Television or live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. But I can say the last several weeks we've had a few people come from North Carolina, and I believe one came from Georgia, another from Florida. People coming up for the rally in person, and I appreciate your sacrifice. I think it is important that we are at a time, and I'm going to talk about this tonight in my keynote address down here. Everything that was gained out of the 60s legislatively, the Voting Rights Act, which gave us voter protection, where we've been denied, and the Rights Act, which with ending DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is an absolute challenge to our Civil Rights Act of 64. So I think that we all need to be very vigilant and very much involved in what is going on now, because if our forefathers could sacrifice to make these things happen, then why can't we, having to do much less, just rally, just call your senator, call your congressman to get them to stick? All right, let's start going to the phone. Let me go to Yusef in Hawaii. Yusef, you're on Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, sir. Thank you for supporting the veterans. I want to say the World Cup, they have figured a way to do administrative way for folks to come see the World Cup, right? That's administrative. How can you give a U.S. a visa opportunity for folks to come over to the U.S. to see the World Cup? We need to find that administrative personnel for the same things we're dealing with on the ground, where people are looking for immigration services. How could you create a program for soccer and benefit from immigration through money? The NBA, the Knicks, and Spurs had a game. Right behind it, you can see the name of the UK football leagues already starting in the NBA. People need to start looking at this stuff. You can't use immigrants to come over with a visa to watch the soccer game, but you can come up with a plan for undocumented immigrants to figure out how to live in this country. If it comes to money, then it comes to money. People that making rules, if you make a rules and it costs people to die or something like that, you still an employee. You should lose your job, right? If we on the job, we make simple mistakes, we lose our job. These people that's running the country has a job. If they decisions impact somebody's life, they should be fired. Did you know 45 days of government shutdown, if you work those 45, you can actually put that on a resume.
Yeah, I agree.
Nonprofits and social workers, they need to start running office. We cannot allow liberals and moderates to secure all the political positions, right? Because everybody's talking about what they're doing, but really ain't coming up with no numbers. We still don't.
Now, tell me, you said, is there any organizing going on in Hawaii to put pressure on the elected officials? You have 2 U.S. senators, you have members of Congress there in Hawaii where you are. What's going on the ground?
Well, I tell you what, Rev, you are always a motivator, so I'm always in grassroots. I donate to the governor here. You know, I donate money. I get involved. But it's very hard to see these people in person. Remember in San Antonio, I linked up with Leon Castro. That's because I was trying to help the neighborhood on the east side of San Antonio to bring our days. But they look to us like we just chumps, man. I'm voting. I'm trying to come in. Well, I'm not talking about Julian Castro. Julian Castro is an outstanding person, and I hope to see him be a contender. You understand what I'm saying? He's an outstanding guy. But what I'm saying is very hard to meet these people. You know what I'm saying? So midterms is coming up. If you're looking for issues, this is the best time to go talk to those guys on the streets, because you don't have to wait in the line. You don't have to call. You don't have to do an appointment. Go.
Yeah, they're coming to you. You're exactly right. And as you know, we're planning this national tour, and because I've got to get into Dallas, I've been promising that. And I'm thinking about maybe we need to jump to Hawaii. I've been there about 3 times to speak for MLK Day and some other things, but I think we need to really, really put. I'm going to be like a bird flying everywhere next year around these midterm elections. So thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. Let's get ready to take our break, and we will be back. More of you on the phones and on the message board. Sharpton, keeping it real from Orlando, Florida, y'all. I'm not down here for Disney World or Disneyland, whatever Disney down here. I'm down here for the Conference of National Black Churches. We'll be right back.
Running James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and
We'll hear
myself
the
now from New York City
from
is
the
the Reverend
IRS.
Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something
It's
about
about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, you know, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be, he's a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Just don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, it's right. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as a land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. But since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example Because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right. At one man should have, the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in. But let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a higher rate than ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact that
Keep it real. I'm your host.
How do we get the
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, the Rev Al, or you can go to the message board and say that we want to hear from you. I'm live here in the city of Orlando, Florida, where tonight I'll keynote the Conference of National Black Churches. And I see Tricia, 1989, is saying to Bruce, she's saying to Bruce, I'm surrounded by large black churches, and it's basically crickets. Everybody wants to do their own thing, very territorial, like the Crips and the Bloods. I agree with that. I think that, and I'm glad that you said that. I think that's part of what I wanted to address on tonight with all of these ministers from different denominations, that we cannot preach to the young folks about having various sides of town. I'm looking for the word. Their territory, I think, is the way they say. You can't go out in my territory, can't cross my line. And then the church is acting like that. And it's more about being served than being of service. So definitely going to talk about that tonight. And well, thank you for your call. Rodney Jones, the mayor of Queensbridge House in New York, says he's old enough. I'm old enough to remember Tom Snyder's show. He's talking about in 1982, James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, and Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer I think of all times, brought me on the Tom Snyder show, introduced me and my youth group, and told people they should support me. That 82 was, about 30-something years ago, almost 40 years ago. And I've been out here a long time, and to have the support of those two giants was awesome for me. But we don't see a lot of athletes and entertainers supporting civil rights groups, young groups, because mine was a civil rights groups now. And I have to ask why. Let's go to Charles in Baltimore, Maryland. Charles, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yeah, how you doing, Dr. Sharpton?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I gotta ask you about, racism and discrimination. I'm not understanding why we're not getting the same type of, juice that anti-Semitic gets when, racism and discrimination, we have civil rights and all these lawyers that we put through affirmative action, to come and defend us and to defend our people, to defend our rights. I don't understand what's happening. Why does anti-Semitic get all of the play and we get none?
I think we all ought to be getting the play. I don't understand it either, because my thing is that when we have an issue, and I think we don't have to wait on somebody to get shot. This whole thing of trying to take out Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is an issue, a paramount issue. This Affordable Care Act is a paramount issue. And when those of us that have access to media are screaming, people say, oh, Sharpton and them just want to make noise. When you see people raising something about anti-Semitism or people LGBTQ, their communities stand behind them. They're all out there. And I'm saying in many of these cases, Charles, and I thank you for your call, thank you for your question. In many of these cases, we've had to cajole people to stand up and do something. Do you realize, I said the other day on the air, and I'll repeat it today, that in 2025, that is just coming to an end in a few days, the only black-led protest march against Trump was when we did Wall Street.
But that's not the issue, though.
Wait a minute. Let me. I thought you asked a question and wanted an answer. That's part of my answer. But you go ahead if you want to answer.
Yeah, but we need lawyers. We don't have the lawyers. We support.
We do have lawyers. No, that's not true. We have lawyers. Wait a minute. The Legal Defense Fund and the Lawyers Committee are handling all these cases all the way up to the Supreme Court. What we don't have is people knowing it. The problem is not that we don't have lawyers. We have everybody from the Legal Defense Fund to Ben Crump.
That doesn't mean anything. We should have lawyers that we put through school that are defending us, the pro bono, just like we put them through with affirmative action.
I would
affirmative action.
I think that Janae Nelson, who heads the Legal Defense Fund, I think the brother that heads the Lawyers Committee, we put them through school. These are young lawyers. They have a battery of lawyers. Ben Crump has a whole firm. That's not true. What you say is inaccurate.
You're talking about individuals. I'm talking about the people. What about us nationally? We don't have anybody defending us. The lawyers. I
just told you who's defending us. All right.
No,
all right, y'all. Thank you for your call. You cannot. What do you think they have in the Jewish community or in the LGBT community? They have organizations and individual law firms. Everybody in those neighborhoods are not lawyers. So I've answered you as best I can. If you're saying we should make everybody become a lawyer, I don't think that's practical. I don't think everybody wants to be a lawyer. If you're saying that we need en masse firms to handle these cases, I just gave you the ones that are handling them. I think we beat down and criticize those that are trying to do something rather than support and expand on them. Let's go to Rick Johnson in Georgia. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay, I do apologize. I have been trying to get into your show since your birthday. I was calling it on your birthday to wish you a happy birthday. And
thank you.
The day is the first day, Reverend Al, I was able to get through. But better late
Well,
than
thank
never.
you.
Happy belated birthday.
Well, that's right. That's right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to respond. Reverend Al, I'm old, but I'm not that old. But I've been in the struggle here in my hometown of Augusta, now in Atlanta, for many years. And we have made great strides in this country as Afro-Americans. But I think we got so comfortable at one point that we did not believe that our rights that we fought so hard for, bled, and died for, that would ever come to a point will be taken away with a roguish Supreme Court and an unlawful president. Now these people in place, we are in a position where with a swipe of a pen, and if we don't fight, and excuse my language, Red, but we don't raise some hell in America, these are gonna be yesterday. It never happened. Yesterday, this morning I had to defend our place in history to a person that looked like me that's going to really just tick me off from the fact of attacking Muslims. Muslims in this country is not our issue. That's not a problem. The problem is white nationalism. The problem is the man sits in the White House and administration and a rogue Supreme Court trying to every day, every minute of the day, rolling back our progress deliberately, and we're seeing it in real time.
No, I think you said it correct, Rick. And I used to be in and out of Augusta, Georgia a lot with James Brown, so I know the progress made. I remember when Augusta elected its first black mayor. I was down there with James Brown. And so you're right. We've seen a lot, but they're taking it back in our face.
In our face.
Right in our face. And there's not enough reaction. There's not enough mass support. And the few of us that are out here are working overtime. And I think that is something that we cannot stress enough. I'm so glad you said that because, they're doing it. They're not even being subtle about it. It is being very open, very candid, and very clear that they intend to take back voting rights, take back diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're sitting around mumbling against each other rather than working with each other, or working with those that will go out there. And like I was getting ready to say to the other caller, that when we look at the fact that there was only one march this year, blacks led, and when Trump was being inaugurated, we had the big rally there in Washington. We need more of us out there. If y'all don't want to support National Action Network, support somebody. I should ask that caller, who's he supporting? It's easy to sit on the couch at home and criticize. Are you a member of something? Are you giving to something? Are you pushing? Are you doing like Rick Johnson? Are you confronting people in your community? That's the point. Thank you for your call, Rick. We're going to take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton from Orlando, Florida today. Be right back.
word to always in the month he was killed. To let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
When they came from the dream.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
No justice! No justice!
People cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not going to throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the
And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You're live, sir. Oh.
Keeping it real, I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And of course, you can go to our message board at National Action Network.net and go to live stream at the message board, National Action Network.net. And I will try to read your message. Don't forget, even from Orlando, where I'm at, speaking tonight, I am booking guests on the Politics Nation with Al Sharpton show, both Saturday and Sunday. I will be on both days live, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't take holidays off. Some people say, are you going to be on this weekend? Yes. We'll be live 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. And I will be at the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem at the House of Justice, 145th Street, Lenox Avenue. For our Saturday Action Rally, I'll be giving my Kwanzaa and Christmas message. I do them together even though Kwanzaa starts the day after Christmas. But I want to give a message for both holidays. What we ought to do, whether you are a participant in Christmas or not, whether you are a participant in Kwanzaa or not, in that holiday spirit, your family, your friends, I have a message for them. And of course, Christmas Day, we'll be at the House of Justice having Christmas family dinner with everybody, the homeless, seniors, everybody. I stay there all day on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is a day to serve, not be served. So you that want to spend Christmas with me and that may want to help serve, I'll say it early, call our 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, and sign up. Let's go. Let me read some of the messages Tricia in 1989 is saying, in addition to Texas, the states of Florida, Oklahoma, and Tennessee have also announced partnerships or similar initiatives to expand the presence of Turning Point USA. And that's concerning. I'm glad you wrote that in, Tricia, because we have Reverend Cassius Rudolph that has come on NAN's staff that we're planning a tour as I speak. In fact, he's in another room here at the hotel on a call right now. We intend to hit 24 campuses. We cannot let Turning Point, and for you that don't know, Turning Point is the national conservative right-wing group that keeps hitting the campuses trying to hit young people. This is what Charlie Kirk headed up. We can't concede these campuses to the right wing. And we're going to be doing some HBCUs. We're going to be doing some others. I'm sending Reverend Rudolph out. Some of them I'll do myself with them. You're absolutely right. I think we're giving up too much ground. And Tricia is saying, Reverend Al, can you discuss with the pastors that on 12/8/25, Governor Abbott announced a statewide partnership with Turning Point? Yeah, I'll bring that up tonight. Thank you for that, Tricia. Very, very important. And because they're trying to deal with the next generation. And that was Bruce Turner saying on Message Board, that was Charlie Kirk's job, to go to college campuses. Well, I have Reverend Rudolph, I have Reverend Bird, I have some people that are good at that. I'm going to send Dominique, Ashley, and I'm going to do some myself. We need to go on these campuses. A lot of these young people are confused because they're misinformed, because they're only being visited by one side. And we need to do that. I told them to set the tour up, and I'll even do the radio show from some of the cities. Bring some of the students on Politics Nation. We have these platforms. We need to use them and deal with it. All right, let's go to the phone. Let me go to Yessie in Atlanta, Georgia. Yessie.
Good to know you're doing well, Reverend Al.
I'm doing well.
The brother made a comment about lawyers and such. And I want to push with the brother to this degree. We've done a lot to so-called educate ourselves since this occupation, we could call it. And we're going to say this occupation is what we're dealing with, the occupation of colonial Europe in America. Would you kind of agree with that?
I do agree with that, yes.
All right. And now, that being said, there are educational breaches not only in mathematics science, but especially in social studies and the understanding of civic leadership and civic government that our people are left out of. And now, let me give an example. The United Nations doesn't represent any melanated people. The government of the United States literally only acknowledges 3/5 in reference to certain melanated people. And the history shows that melanated people, our people, were on this land functioning quite well before certain people decided they wanted this land. And they're inviting other lands to the land that they've taken from our ancestors and enslaved us, but primarily, and I mean primarily as what we should be bringing to the forefront of our communication with each other. Primarily, they stole our home. That's why our home is not stable, which made it easy for them to break up our families, making it harder for us to defend what they stole. And these things, especially when we talk about education and lawyers, this is how we first have to bring the knowledge of this to our people so that they have a reasonable fight in the game. They have some blood in the game because they understand We're not asking for things amiss. We're telling you this is the history. These are the things and the transgressions that need to be addressed. And I don't care who your governors or your president is. We need our own president at this particular time. We need our own governors at this particular time, because their governors and their presidents are not in concern for the people they stole this land from or stole from Africa to bring to this land.
I do not disagree. I think that, and thank you for your call. Yes, you, as always, make some very poignant points. And I think that there is a lot of merit to saying that we need to argue these cases legally. We need to put our shoulder to the wheel globally. And the point you made about the United Nations is a major point. But at the same time, what I was responding to the caller is, if we did a crash program, let me put it this way. If we did a crash program right now, and if I got the Conference of National Black Churches to do it, or NAN to do it, we would have to put X amount of people through law schools and have them pass the bar, which we should do if they're going to practice. But we already have some legal apparatus in the Legal Defense Fund, in the Lawyers Committee, in Ben Crump, that many of us are not supporting them. So what I'm saying is not do one or the other, do both and. Let's support the ranks that are out there doing the legal fights. Janae Nelson and the Legal Defense Funds are the ones that are arguing in the Supreme Court. They're the ones doing the argument for our community before the court on the voting rights bill. And a lawyers committee on the DEI, and Ben Crump dealing with a lot of these criminal cases. Let's support them and expand it and make more lawyers. But let's not act like they ain't doing nothing, because they're doing everything they can. And a lot of us are not supporting any of them. We just sit around complaining. And I think that it is important. Brenda Coles is saying on our message board, the tours are great, but please add students on campus that understand the temperature on their campus. Young adults are not easy to reach as we may think. There's no doubt about it. We have a chapter, Brenda, at Howard University and another one at Tennessee State. And the language, the understanding, the way they communicate is totally foreign to a lot of us. So that is why Rev. Rudolph, as he's organizing this tour, is bringing in the student leaders on the campus to do the format, to do how we do it, to do where we do, because it's a whole different world. We're going to have to incorporate the students and the young people in it, and that's how Turning Points is doing it. I think you're making an excellent point. Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and NAN family. Evangelist Ramsey's writing, I don't give a rabbit foot what Trump and his administration are doing. I will trust God Almighty because he promised to take care of us. Well, I'm standing on his promises. I'm with you, Evangelist Ramsey, one of our great prolific activists in New York. Let's go to Milwaukee to Minister Walker. Milwaukee, Minister Walker. Let me take my break. I'll come back to Minister Walker first. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Live from Orlando. Be right back.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller Payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the Payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young lady.
That's going to perform with you?
Yeah, she's going to.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee, sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars, focus on the journey. Michael beat him. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up.
Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to say to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers, we thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss. But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. And I want his 3 children to know, wasn't nothing strange about your daddy. It was strange what your daddy had to deal with. But he dealt with it. He dealt with it anyway. He dealt with it for us. So some came today, Mrs. Jackson, to say goodbye to Michael. I came to say thank you. Thank you because you never stopped. Thank you because you never gave up. Thank you because you never gave out. Thank you because you tore down our divisions. Thank you because you eradicated barriers. Thank you because you gave us hope. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
How are you? Highly favored. Highly favored. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, family.
Please receive one of the
Keeping it real, I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or go to the message board, and you can send a message. I'll read as many as I can over the air, and that is at nationalactionnetwork.net, nationalactionnetwork.net, and go to the live stream. James Thomas is saying, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and everyone. Happy hump day. Okay, I like that. Bruce Turner is saying, this is the info I put on Facebook, not what I'm eating or drinking. Some bigger boots on the ground. We are in the war and better be prepared to fight. I am a firm believer, Bruce, if that's what you're referring to, about being prepared. Part of being prepared is what we do in terms of our food intake and all. You know, I do morning thoughts every morning live between 5 and 6:30 in the morning. I'm in the gym, and I do 2 or 3 morning thoughts, trying to get people, mostly, 1,000 or 2 people kind of tune in with me to get tuned in for the day. We should not waste our days. We should not just arbitrarily live at random. We ought to be focused. We ought to be part of something. We ought not just be griping and not doing something tangible with our days. Let's go to Keith in Atlanta, Georgia. Keith, you're on Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton.
Sharpton, I'm sorry. Good afternoon.
I can't hear Keith.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I hear you much better now, yes.
Okay. Good morning. What should I say? Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my phone call. Let me say first that I love you, man. I love what you do. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a fabulous job in this community.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The second thing I want to say, I was the gentleman that called. It was about a few days ago, last week I think it was, and I was trying to talk about you going on the student campuses and you becoming our Charlie Kirk, in so many words.
Right.
Good part. The thing about it is they were talking about funding. And I already had an idea for funding, but I think you ran out of time or something that day on your program. And so...
Yeah, I do remember your call. Go ahead, explain that to me.
Yes, sir. So the way it would work, it would come from a number of sources. The first source, this is the smaller source, this is the one where it might, for some people, it might not be so affordable, but I'm going to go from there. College students might be able to contribute and donate just a little bit. Their parents donate a little bit, but it goes further from there. So what about Hollywood? What about the music industry, the black Hollywood, the black music industry? These people want our voices to be heard as far as what our black history, what we've been through, and what we're going through even now today. That being said, they will be more than willing to donate something so that our black college students will have a good understanding, our young people who will have a good understanding of what's going on in our community, what's going on in the politics. You understand what I'm saying? It's imperative to get this information, this message out. Not only them, but we have our black students that graduated from college that have went on to do bigger and better things. Some of them are congressmen. Some of them are senators. Some of them they're making salaries of $174,000 a year. Okay. What about those who are athletes? NFL, NBA, baseball. Okay. I'm just saying. Then we also have our churches, the black church. Okay. And I'm not going to even talk about the black-owned businesses. I know of a church where a guy he $32 million, I believe, his father owns some black-owned business that make black hair products. So I'm just saying, the money is there. Give some of these people with the black-owned businesses advertisement for donations. It can work, but people.
I think you laid out some very, very key, critical areas. As I said, I'm down here at the Conference of National Black Churches, and Reverend Rudolph, who's setting up our college tour. Some of it, the churches are going to help sponsor. Some of it, we are getting some of the entertainment world that is working with us. But I think you gave different ideas. I'd like y'all, Dallas, pick up his number, because I'd like him to talk to Reverend Rudolph and give some of the ideas and maybe see if Keith wants to work with us on this tour, because he has some great ideas. Get Keith's number and get it to me. I'm going to get Reverend Rudolph to call him. Thank you for your call, Keith, and thank you for your input. And thank you for calling back and bringing this out, because we ran out of time, but I'm glad we were able to hear all of what you're saying. I think you're right. On our message board, Walter Coleman is saying, Reverend, our turning point is about reaching young people for Christ and the principles that this nation was founded on. Yes, slavery was wrong, but God took care of that sin. God created this nation. Well, God took care of it because God gave us the strength to do it. God did not come down with a magic wand. There was a civil war, there was a civil rights movement, people died, and we must be in that struggle today. And as we do our tour, we're going to be telling people, yes, they ought to turn to God, but turn to God to do what is right. And preserving people's right to vote is a godly thing. Preserving people's health care is a godly thing. We cannot say, God, God. The Bible says, I would say, Lord, Lord, and don't do what I say. The whole idea of Jesus coming and feeding the hungry and taking care of the affirmed, he didn't ask them, could you afford it? He healed them. So I think a lot of us are more into the rhetoric of religion than the practice of religion. Don't forget, Martin Luther King's organization was called the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. We never stopped being devout Christians, but we believe in active Christianity. We do not believe in just being sanctimonious and watch people starve and watch people not be able to have health care and act like that's all right. And then talk about God made the nation. God made us to make a nation. God didn't come down here and start the United States. God gave us the ability to do this. George Washington and those that fought the Revolutionary War were not gods. So let's us be real about this stuff. Let's go to Ira in Washington, D.C. Let's take a break. I'm going to be right back to Ira after the break. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Some people report the news. Others interpret it. But there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate, or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Reb and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true. So yes, we try to reflect some of that in our reporting. In times like this right now in America, art and free speech are under attack. It's not just the historians, bless them. It's not just the normal newspaper reporters, bless them. It's also the comedians, from Kimmel to D.L. Hughley. It's also the artists. We've seen the crackdowns on people who sing or share their thoughts through other forms of expression. And so, in a moment like this, as we've seen in, unfortunately, other countries around the world, it feels like just telling the truth becomes a radical act. That's a bad sign for the health of your democracy. But the truth can help redeem our democracy. So I'll end with a bar. Is that all right? Should we do one bar? From New York's own Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Hove. He's talking about people that might not be truthful with you, that might not keep it a buck. And he said, they're all actors, looking at themselves in the mirror backwards. Can't even face themselves, don't fear no rappers. They're all weirdos, De Niro's in practice. So don't believe everything your earlobe captures. It's mostly backwards. Unless it happens to be as accurate as me. And everything said in song you happen to see. Then actually believe half of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. So we will keep spitting facts with the humble confidence of Sean Carter on our best day. And you can keep making up your own mind, because we gonna be all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Baby face. Every step I take, you will be there. Every step I make, we'll be together. Every step I take, you will be there. Every step I make, we'll be together. Every step I take.
Whew. Thank you so much. I was thinking I was going to prepare a speech, but I can't read those things anymore. Name's Babyface, not Baby Body. But I wanted to, you made me sound so good with those words. I was like, that was me? I was like, when I look at my life and I think of the music and everything that I've done, I used to say that I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the words come from. I don't know where the music comes from. I don't know how I got here where I am, but that's not true. God got me here. This is
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. I'm live in Orlando, Florida, keynoting this evening's session of the Conference of National Black Churches. Let's go to Ira in Washington, D.C. Ira, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Now, good evening, right now. Thanks for taking my call. I try to keep my limit to 5 minutes. I'm just going to do some public service announcements real quick, and I'll elaborate tomorrow when I call it on the whole subject. What it is, I just want to inform the public about allegedly they have these, which you have to pay attention to your food when you buy them, as far as chickens and stuff like that. They have a labeling that says allegedly hatched, raised, farm grown, and harvested in the USA hatched. Anything other than that is lab grown. I want to bring that to their attention. Pay attention to their labels and their fooding when they're buying it from Lidl's and all these places like that. And also, we have this alleged that drugs are in the food that people are getting now. Is just notified was in Tennessee that they don't have to give you any warning of anything they put in your food as a drug or something to vaccinate you or whatever due to that administration. And just keep an eye on that and keep a check on those things. And my next one was the thing that gets me is parts of the U.S. Public Service Number over the IDs. People was recommending that you get your passports instead of IDs because it allegedly eliminates certain things you have to do dealing with the United States government. So I'll elaborate on that tomorrow as well, as far as the passport thing. And number 47, him and that Helkage, whatever that boy name is, wants to erase black soldiers from the history of everything and eliminate them completely. The black soldiers, they have a history of, I'm going to elaborate on that tomorrow too. They got a history of things they have done for black America. They couldn't eat with white people. They couldn't sleep with white people, but they sit and fought in lines for killing themselves to protect this country. So I'm going to elaborate on that all tomorrow when I call in. And that's my call for today, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Ira. Thank you for your call. Let's go to Keith in Atlanta, Georgia. Keith, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Hello? I don't hear Keith. All right, let's go to Shy in Richmond, Virginia. Shy.
On Al Sharpton, I just want to ditto what the last caller said. I didn't call for that, but I'm just saying, yeah, he's correct about we need to read our food label because we're getting a lot of bioengineered food, which is just clone food, which is not healthy for us. But what I was calling you about was going on in Venezuela. I had made some calls to you a couple of months ago about the situation, and Donald Trump, he's intentionally doing what Putin is asking him to do. It's just to take control of Venezuela because, you know, that like I stated once before, that's the world's largest oil reserve. So now he's out there blowing up these ships with no just cause or anything of that nature just to please Putin because Donald Trump is just a puppet. Putin is running everything, just like over in Ukraine. What's going on in Ukraine? They should have been, Donald Trump refuses to do anything to assist the Ukrainian people in order to end this war. Because once again, Putin is in charge. And then I want to also address what's going on with this gerrymandering. That has been going on because now the United States is a melting pot. We got so many different nationalities here, and we got all these different holidays now. You know, and I'm not going to criticize it, but, you know, we trying to celebrate everybody's nationality, and in North America is the only place that you're going to find basically every nationality here. So with that gerrymandering now, people are strategically putting their people in certain neighborhoods so their candidate to win that election. So we need to really be careful about this, what's going on. But Donald Trump he's not running the United States. And like they was talking about the top secret documents that when his first election was found in Mar-a-Lago, and now they bringing that back up, that should have never went away. We should have, because now Putin knows all our top secret information. And once again, Putin is running the United States, and Donald Trump feels like he's running out of time. And Putin is getting impatient with Donald Trump, so therefore that's why they're amping up what's going on in Venezuela, because Donald Trump, we all know he's anxious to drop them nuclear bombs. You know, he wanted to make sure they could work. He was on 60 Minutes expressed that. How we know they're going to work? So who's going to be the guinea pig? Venezuela, which they...
All right, well, thank you for your call. I will say this, thank you for your call. I will say that I think that there is undue influence of Putin on this administration, and particularly President Trump. I don't disagree with that. There's been undue influence, but I also suspect that and again, this is my suspicion. This is other people's suspicion that a lot of the movement in Venezuela is around the oil supply and some of the business interests in this country that are friendly or partner with Donald Trump wanting to get some kind of control of the oil in Venezuela. So there are many of us that have different theories about the whole question of why we're in Venezuela. But just about all of us are convinced that there is no sound basis for what's going on there. Let's go to Mrs. Richardson in Chevy Chase, Maryland. My friend, Mrs. Richardson, you're on Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, good afternoon, my dear.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Rev, you know, the lady that just got off, she's so right, that sister, you know, she's perfectly right. Now, I say that because I just turned from C-SPAN, you know, the deal, you know, go to you, because I don't wrap up the day until I listen to you, you know, because you're the one that, as far as I'm concerned, holds most of the truth of the venom that comes from the Anglo-Saxon. You know, you make it known, Rev, who our enemies are, you know, and it distresses me to not hear black men stand up to the plate, you know, and they had something on there several days ago where they was even announcing that men in general have become so defeminized. I mean, it seemed like to me they're trying to say men are no longer standing up the way that they should. They were talking in general, but I kind of agree with it. I just don't understand men these days. They're not being real men, as far as I'm concerned. They want one man to do it all. They want Rev by himself to do it. And it's a danger there. I worry about you, Rev, every day. When I go to bed, I say, Lord, protect Rev. Because these men are, I don't know, they like to just talk like women, run their mouths. And a lot of them ain't doing nothing, you know, sitting around the house, watching soap operas with their girlfriends and things. But, you know, I don't want to get into that. But I'm saying on C-SPAN, you know, Gregory Meeks and Mr. Mass, they were at it. You know, the Republican side and the Democrat side. Mr. Meeks was speaking beautifully about Venezuela. Yeah, like the
Greg Meeks is out of Queens, New York. I've noticed that when he first went to Congress, I supported him. And he's been on our show a lot. Yeah, he did. He stood up strong on that one. You're right.
Yeah, you know, he was on there when I just come over to you, and they're still at it. I mean, there was some outbursts, and they took Mr. Mike's off the speaker because he was getting emotional, but he was speaking the absolute truth. But the other side was speaking some truth too, Rev, you know, because you know me, I'm an independent. I got to speak what I heard. And Mr. Mass, this other one from the Republican side, then they're saying Mr. Chairman, calling the other man to regulate this and that, Mr. Chairman, and then they go at it with each other. People from different parts, the ladies even speak. Some of the, you know, women, people that's on the Hill, they spoke about. They both sides, Republican women and Democratic women, and they spoke well. And I just cannot forsake to say that they weren't speaking some truth to it too, because see, they're saying a lot of these drug cartels, that Biden and some of the Democrats seem to ignore, because they're thinking that they're trying to attack small town America, like with the people in the hood and gangs, Latin gangs, and black gangs, and then they're trying to say that the Democrats don't look at the general picture about what these terrorists, some of these people that's bringing the drugs in, and how they go to the neighborhoods, the Latin gangs get these drugs from the drug cartels, and then they use these young girls sometimes in instances, and they're even they've taken a swarm of young juvenile girls and into this thing, into the danger zone here. And I'm saying that they went on and on. I mean, there's so much for me to try to keep in mind what they're saying, because they're talking so fast and so boldly and so right on both sides. I'm thinking, because one side is trying to actually look out for the little people in the little neighborhoods, but in those little neighborhoods where the New York, Chicago, they have gangs, Latin gangs that's killing innocent people. We've got to look at both sides. We just can't put our heads in the sand and say, well, but you know what, Rep? Good news. 4 Republicans have sided that they want to go on the side of the Democrats, and 4 Republicans are on the side of the Democrats, hoping they get this thing, for the bill passed, and trying to knock down this bill that Trump is trying to put forth, him and Mike Johnson and all of them. See, all of them are trying to line their pockets. That's all they're interested in. I can tell by their voices. Mrs. Richardson can pick up these men with their gritty mouths. And when I hear Mike Johnson speak, he makes me want to buke, because he's wanting to line his pockets. And all of them other Republicans, and some of them that didn't side with the 4 Republicans that's trying to have a bipartisan. See, we need bipartisanship. We don't need hatred trip, hating the Republicans, hating the Democrats. We got to have bipartisan resolutions, Reverend. In closing, I'll just say that, I hope you will speak to this in the near future, because, see, it's both sides. And Rev, I love you because you do look at both sides. You don't put your head in the sand, but you have a lot of our black men that have copped out. They put their heads in the sand, and they won't talk about issues, about standing up to these Latin kings, what they call them, that's helping the drug cartels from both the Democratic and the Republicans. They don't try to knock down what the hierarchy is doing with their venom, the ones with the 1%, and all these people attacking the ships on the seas, and Trump is trying to kill innocent people on these ships in Venezuela. He's not supposed to do that. But the other side is saying that the Republicans are saying, well, we have to have some safeguards, and the president has that right. So, Rev, I'll let you speak to it. You know more than it than that. And darling, that's why I love you, because, see, you bring out the truth and the whole truth, and you look at both sides, and that's why we love you so much. And I'll call you later this week.
All right, love you. Thank you. Always good to hear from Miss Richardson. Let me go to my break, and I'm coming back to the phones. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who could run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancier? And don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, at ACPD with the Defense Forces together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this stuff. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males? That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy.
Keeping it real, I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and of course, we are taking your messages at the National Action Network.net, and all you have to do is go to live stream and print in a message. And I think Jagide, I think that's, I hope I'm saying it correct, is saying don't think Putin runs Alpac. That's who is destroying the U.S. and draining every possible resource. Well, I guess that's one opinion. And William D. Armand Jr. said, can't wait to hear from you this evening. I guess he's here in Orlando at the conference. I'll be there at 7 o'clock. I will be speaking, absolutely. And Fatima is saying to happiness donuts on our message page, the Speaker Johnson said he wouldn't allow a vote. And I think that's right. I think that Speaker Johnson has said that Speaker Mike Johnson, for you that don't know what I'm talking about, has said there will not be a vote. They would have to do a discharge petition, and that discharge petition would then force a vote. And I understand now that 3 Republicans had said they would be part of the discharge, but we have not seen if that's enough votes to force the discharge and therefore go from there. But that is absolutely correct. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. And, I think that a lot of us, well, let me go to Anita in Chapel Hill. Anita in Chapel Hill.
Hi, Reverend Al.
Hi.
Reverend Al, we got some serious things to take care of. First of all, I was trying to get President Barack Obama to establish what a family is, and I never could get that situated. The white man has never accepted the role of the rest of the world, that men and women, they have situations and they have children, and they are working to use the resources of the world to do that. This is really serious, Reverend Al. It's a simple matter, but they don't seem to understand that they just can't do whatever in the world is going to submit, because Islam, we're only allowed to submit to God and do what God asks us to do. And we're to accept all the prophets between Abraham through Muhammad, and that would include Jesus, okay? And Jesus was a peacemaker. He was a friend. He was better than a friend. And he's what's got me through all of this, Reverend Al. And what Donald Trump says, I mean, I understand some of his points of view, but he is like an immature teenager. And maybe he never socialized because he had money with regular people, but he doesn't know how to socialize, and he makes all the wrong comments, and he says everything out of context in every place. That is affecting our children very negatively. That's very negative, and I don't know what we're going to do with him, because something has to be done, because I'm very worried that he's going to try to topple our government. And you know what we've had to do to put it in place as it is today. And I'm relying on you, and I know you're getting older, and I'm getting older, and these children have to have the right. The democracy has to be established, right? And the view is, I think they're helping in many, many ways to, tell people, please get up, go vote, listen to what's going on, don't take this. They've had Marjorie Taylor Greene on their show also, and the comedian Jimmy Kimmel, he had Michelle Obama on the show day before yesterday, and he's supposed to I don't know if Kamala was on there yesterday, because I forgot to watch him, but she's supposed to be on this week too. So they're making some big statements. Nobody wants this hierarchy going on that Donald Trump is trying to express, and we have to. You're doing an important job for us, Reverend Al, and don't think it's not. And I pray that your prayers and all the prayer warriors are praying that you can come up with some good solutions, and we can make something stick and work and make it good for the children, where they can go to school and have families and go to, do intelligent things on the earth, not simple-minded things. You know what I'm saying? And drugs, I think that's demon possessed, and I think it's the spirituality of people that follow pagan gods, and this country is full of them. It's full of pagan gods here. A lot of idolatry.
Well, there's no doubt about that. That you've got a lot of paganism and demonic behavior. There's no question about that. Thank you for your call. I'm reading on the message board. Tanya Stover says Susie Wiles. Susie Wiles, by the way, for the edification of our listeners, is the chief of staff at the White House. She's Donald Trump's chief of staff. Susie Wiles said that Trump believes he is unstoppable, and there isn't anything he can't do. That means he does not think he should follow any kind of rules or regulations. Now, Susie Wiles is his right hand, his chief of staff, and she said in an interview to Vanity Fair that Donald Trump feels he's unstoppable. He doesn't feel there's anything he can't do. And that kind of mentality is dangerous. And that is why we must organize and be extremely active. Let me tell you, we organized around George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery while he was president last time. And we put those two whites that killed Ahmaud Arbery in jail in Brunswick, Georgia. Now, this wasn't Atlanta, West Atlanta. Brunswick, Georgia. We came in there and mass kept coming. I remember I went one day and they objected, the defense attorneys objected to me being in the room. And I called for 100 black ministers to meet. 300 came. And they convicted those two men. They're in jail right now for killing Ahmaud Arbery. 3 cops convicted in Minneapolis. All while Trump was president. So let us not sit here or stand here, whatever way you're listening to me, acting like what we can't do. We've done it. The question is why we don't do what we have been doing. And I think that a lot of us need to get up off our rumps and stop all of this licking our wounds and melancholy singing and get up and go to work. Because Trump is powerful, but he's not all powerful. And Trump can be dealt with, and we can deal in this era of Trump. We can take the House of Representatives next year and make Hakeem Jeffries the Speaker. I mean, that is for real. People go, oh, I don't know. We didn't know that we could elect Obama. We did, and re-elected him. So it is always those that are the non-believers that try to drag us down. And I think that we need to come out strong. Let me take some calls. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Destined Forever says, Sister Carla, we can't depend solely on Reverend Al. It is our responsibility to get involved in our community. If there's a need and God has given us the vision to meet the need, we should do it. And she's absolutely right. I'm going to do all I can and some. But everybody needs to be doing something. And I will be supportive of it. But everybody has something. And we can't sit down and complain. You know, I think that I'm gonna do a session one day on the air where everybody that calls in complaining, I'm gonna ask, what organization are you a member of? I ain't gonna do it today, so you don't have to be scared to call, but I'm gonna do it one day. Because a lot of us have so much he should do this, you should do that, he, me, she stuff, and ain't involved ourselves in anything. Yet, we critique everybody. We got a suggestion for this, a suggestion for that, a suggestion for everybody but ourselves. And I think that she is absolutely right. Everybody should deal with some responsibility. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. You on the phones, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and blessings will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Black Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God. In that, it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling in life.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back.
Focus.
1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And I want some of the callers to tell me what is going on in their community and tell me what you want me to tell all these ministers from around the country tonight. I need some callers to tell me, if you were talking to all these preachers hundreds from around the country, every denomination. What is it you want me to say? Let me read from our message pad. Gwen E. White, black civil rights attorneys and NAACP folks are afraid of a grand wizard of the KKK, but they scream about civil rights and justice, but his mouth only. Well, Gwen, I don't agree with that. I think that if you look at the record from Ben Crump to other attorneys that have taken these cases in the Deep South, all over the country, and certainly, as I cited in the last segment, Brunswick, Georgia, you can't get no more a home of the Klan than that, and black lawyers fought that case, and Janae Nelson and them fighting in the Supreme Court. Now, are you right that some black lawyers are afraid? Yes. But to say all of them are, no, I don't think so. And I think that a lot of it, when they talk about some civil rights folks are all mouth, well, I think it's mouth and action. I think a lot of the critics of civil rights groups are all mouth. They're not a member of nothing. They don't do anything but sit around and complain. And I think that it's easy to use mouth to complain about mouth. What somebody that thinks that these civil rights lawyers or civil rights groups are doing is only mouth is also go on the message board and tell me what you're involved in, what you're doing, so we give you some publicity and tell us where your office is so we can have people come and see what you're doing. It's just that simple. In fact, give me your website and your number. I'll put you on the show. Because if all you're doing is talk about what everybody else is doing or not doing, then what James Brown sings is like a dull knife, just can't cut it. Talking loud and saying nothing. So if you think everybody ain't doing nothing, tell me what you're doing. Put on the message board, we can call you. I'll put you on the show right now. Right now, ain't no long thing. I'm looking at the message board. I don't see your number. I don't see your website. Going once. Going twice. I thought so. I think that a lot of us are just, and let me say this. I think that it is in some ways understandable that a lot of us are cynical and have given up. I understand that. Because we've seen so much going forward and going backwards, pushing forward, then they push us back. But that's the cycles of history. We fought the abolitionist movement. Finally, in the Civil War, they outlawed chattel slavery. Won that backlash. They blew Lincoln's, assassinated Lincoln's. Went forward 12 years of Reconstruction backlash. Ku Klux Klan, White Citizens Council, Supreme Court come with Plessy versus Ferguson. Go from there, years fighting segregation, backlash. Took away rights to vote. Went Brown versus Board of Education in 54, Rosa Parks in 55 with the Montgomery bus boycott. 60 started the student sit-ins, won to the 64 Civil Rights Act, 65 Voting Rights Act, backlash, Nixon, then Reagan. If you look at the cycles of history, we know every time there's an advancement, they're going to push back, which is why we need to be continually pushing each other and pushing forward. But we criticize each other more than we criticize those that are holding us down. And there's something self-effacing, self-hating about we criticize those of us that are out there, even if they're just loud, when most of us have laryngitis and ain't saying nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I think I'm prepared for people to tell me what it is they are doing. Dallas, I see on the call screen. Let's put this call in. Is Dallas listening to me?
Sir.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm trying to get... Yes.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead. You're on the air.
I think what we need to do, sir, is to start to organize as much as we can. There's a problem out here. And if it's what I think it is, it's going to be very deadly to a number of people if they just float along and think that they can do it that way. You know, the way that you were talking about previously. Because the real deal is that there are a number of folk out here that I've run into who aren't very happy to notice that I'm alive. That includes other people who look like me.
To what?
They're not very happy to notice that I am alive, along with a lot of other people I used to hang out with. So we've been getting back together, sir. At least here in Philadelphia, a lot of people are coming together. And with this technology that we got, we can do quite a bit of stuff that we couldn't do back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. And we're doing it too, believe it or not. People with various organizations that I used to be with, CORE, SNCC, places like that, believe it or not, they're doing stuff now that you wouldn't even believe. And they got people who
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, that SNCC and CORE was for my time, but I'm glad to hear that. And that's exactly what we need to do.
Yes, sir, because I'm an old guy, and I'm going to get older. But if what I think is coming, and unfortunately we've got a guy named Trump in office right now, if what I think is coming is coming, and a lot of people in Philadelphia talk about it this way, we got a fight of our lives coming up on our hands. So everybody, get ready, prepare, get your young people on board, and make sure that they're doing the stuff that they need to do. Over and out, sir.
All right. Thank you for your call. And I am glad. I think that if some of the elders are meeting and organizing, there couldn't be nothing better than that. I think if some of us that are older continue what we're doing and work with the young people, and sometimes the young people won't do it alone, nothing better. Let me tell you something. In the 60s civil rights movement, I studied it, and I was mentored and trained by some of them that did it. I was a kid. I wasn't 10 years old in 64. But in 60 and 61, 62, when they had a Student Nonviolent Committee, they felt that King and them were too old and too church-oriented. They always had different generations, different strategies. Nothing wrong with that now. What is wrong is for you to sit down doing nothing and criticize everybody that's trying to do something. That's what's wrong. Let's take a break. Be right back. More of you on the phones and on the message board. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we molded them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door. And he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be, he's a minister. and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed, just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say that.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as a land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. But since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
At one man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in. But let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames up upstairs.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. I'm live in Orlando, Florida, at the site of the Conference of National Black Churches. I'll be keynoting their evening session here in Orlando, Florida, tonight at 7 p.m. And many of our ministers are down here with us, and I am going to be keynoting tonight at 7 a.m. 7 p.m. I'm sorry, I said 7 a.m. Let me also say that we are, again, Saturday and Sunday, we are live at Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly MSNBC. And even down here, I'm making calls, booking some of the senators and members of Congress. I cannot believe they will not let this vote go with the affordable health care, but I guess I will have to believe it. I want to get the updates directly from them, as well as what is going to go on with this redistricting fight. So make sure you watch Politics Nation this weekend. I'm going to have the right people dealing with the right issues on live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. You that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And, of course, we want all of you to be there that can. You that cannot be there because you live further away, you can watch it live on Impact Television. And, of course, that is also available live on live stream at National Action Network. All right, let's go to North Carolina to Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn.
Yes, Reverend Sharpton, this is Gwendolyn White. Let me just correct one thing. I respect my elders. I respect Attorney Benjamin Crump and all of his due diligence, and I think he is a phenomenal person. I respect you. My mother told me that Reverend Al Sharpton is doing a phenomenal job. I reached out to your organization along with other civil rights people within the state of North Carolina, including I was with the NAACP until all of this stuff happened when we bought the house in Roseville. The president said to me while I was talking, while me and my mother was on the phone, he said, I tell you what, if you take down your panties, then I'll help you. My mother said, you are disgusting.
You said, wait. Who is this?
a president with the local NAACP made a comment to me over the phone. If you take down your panties and give me some, I will help you. My mother told him, you are disgusting. The local NAACP in Wake County knows about that case. That person was suspended and expelled from the local NAACP, and the branch that he was at Watts Chapel is no longer there. So I understand exactly what you're saying when I say that it's some civil rights attorneys and some of the local agencies. I know what I'm talking about because I've been dealing with it for 5 years. I also went to Reverend Toon, which is the NAN, and I think it's New Bern or it's in North Carolina. He's part of your association. I talked to him. I sent him the files. We talked on the phone. He told me, he said, so basically you bought a house next door to somebody that's white. I said, yes, sir. Did not know that they were a grand wizard. I bought a house in a new community, about 200 houses. He said, so basically this is your fault that they did not stop breaking in your house. I said, sir, in Wake County, I went before Judge Damon McCullers. He asked their attorney, Paige Feldman, to tell the truth. She said, Miss White is telling the truth. They broke in her house 497 times. They poisoned her and her mother. My mother ended up with...
Wait. I'm trying to get the story. They broke in your house 497 times?
Yes, and I called the police, and the police have a recording.
How could they break in your house 497 times?
I was going back and forth to Duke Hospital, and every time I came home, either my garage, my front door, my back door of my 3,100 square feet house at 733 Stratton, I would call the police. I'll make sure my mother was there. When we went to court before Judge Damon McCullers on January 3rd of 2022, he locked the courtroom, and he asked Attorney Paige Feldman, who was sitting there with the gentleman that said he's a grand wizard. She told Judge McCullers, Miss White is telling the truth. This really did happen to her. They poisoned her and her mother. My mother ended up with 6% arsenic. I ended up with 3%. They said that they stole over $26,000 out of our safe. They cut up my clothes. They put cocaine around a water bottle, busted me in my chest. If anybody really want to understand what has happened to me, go out to my Facebook page, listen to the audios, listen to my messages that's out there, listen to the court files. I have a
I'll do that because I've been out here a long time. I never heard nobody's getting broken in 497 times. So I will go to your Facebook page. I got staff sitting here with me in Orlando, and let's check this out because this. I really don't understand this one. And I will also talk to Reverend Toon. Thank you for your call, Gwendolyn. We will go to get her Facebook. How do we get her on Facebook? I want to look at this myself because if any of this is true, this is egregious. Let's go to Susan here in Florida. Susan.
Hey, Reverend Al, my non-biological uncle. How are you?
All right, I'm fine. How are you?
Great. I am wonderful. I have a question to ask.
I'm listening.
I think I'm lost. I'm lost.
Hello.
Lost about Venezuelans. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead. You said you had a question to ask.
Yes, Venezuelan. When did it become the property of the United States of America?
Well, you got. I think that you raise a very interesting question. It is not the property of the United States of America. Should not be treated as the United States property. And I think that what they are doing down there is what the United States is doing down there is absolutely outrageous.
If we allowed this, what would make it different from him going to other islands and saying this is a property of the United States and we want it? So what would make him stop at there and not go after Trinidad, not go after Jamaica, not go after other islands? And I just want it and I'm going to take it. So
no, I think you raised a very, very important point, Susan. If we accept what he's doing in Venezuela, blowing up boats, saying that they gone up on their coast, and there's no reason. First of all, there's no ownership there, there's no relationship there, and there's no evidence there. And if he is allowed to do this, every Caribbean nation is vulnerable, and then they'll go to Africa. Wherever there is oil or wherever there's natural minerals that their business cohorts want, they will do that. That's why I've been talking about Venezuela since the first boat went down. And people saying that ain't a civil rights issue. What is he talking about? That is a civil rights issue. It's a human rights issue. You have no right to violate the sovereignty of another nation. Now, if you're talking about, and let me tell you something else, Susan. If the whole thing that they're talking about is that, well, they're transporting drugs into this country, which has not been proven. There's not been one arrest, not one trial, no evidence. But at the same time, Susan, that they were claiming Venezuela had people bringing drugs here, he pardons the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of drug trafficking in the United States, convicted in the federal courts, and sentenced to 45 years in jail. He gave him a pardon at the same time they blowing up boats in Venezuela. You know, I was born 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't last night.
Thank you so very much. I just, that really got to me about, him taking over or want to claim Venezuela as the United States prop, and it's not, as well as it started off with drugs and now it's oil. So I need to also know, is it drugs or is it oil? What is it?
Yeah, right. And I think that I'm so glad you called, and I think you raised a critical question. It is not our sovereignty. And I think that we have got to not let that be normalized, because I think some of us will say that, well, that's Venezuela. I'm not Venezuelan. It will get to Jamaica and Haiti and Trinidad and Barbados, because you will have them set a precedent if that's what they want to do. To be able to accuse a country of drug trafficking with no evidence, nobody's been tried, is absolutely horrendous. Thank you for your call. And I'm glad that it is a caller that raised that. And it's not about democracy there. It's about control. Well, I hear the music. I'm going to have to go. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real.